All right, we're in. We're in, lads. Fucking hell.
That's what he said.
Well, of course we did. Of course I said that. I just did. Over the years, there have been many portrayals of Batman and Joker. And to be honest, some of them were complete trash, and some of them were alright, and some of them were absolutely legendary. So here we are, me and Squeedo, making the official Batman and Joker tier list. Our opinions are indeed fact. Whether you believe them or not is irrelevant. Sorry. So starting off, Adam West Batman. To be honest, I didn't see much of the original show. I did watch a few episodes, and I did like the fun quirkiness of the character. For me, I don't really have too much to say, but I know Squeedo saw a bunch. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, I watched a shit ton of Batman from 1966 growing up. Adam West he's S tier. It's his Batman is just, he's a goofy character. I mean, the whole show is kind of goofy, but it's the fact that Batman is so serious in every single situation, no matter what, is what makes him perfect. And this Adam West Batman, he truly is the smartest guy in the room. No matter who he's in the room with, he is the smartest guy in the room. And it does make for some funny moments. Like, Jim Gordon would be like, oh, we received this encoded message, but we don't know what it means. And then he'll just say some shit like, it's the alphabet. And then everyone's like, oh my God, Batman, you're so smart.
No way.
No way. But, Adam West Batman is he's perfect. And then they even did those animated movies a few years back before he passed. I forget what they're called. Oh, Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders,
yes,
and then
I've
Batman
heard of
vs. Two-Face. Yeah, so he did the voice role for those. And, I mean, you just gotta love Adam West. Like, even outside of Batman, you gotta love Adam West. Bro's perfect.
Did I mention that Squeedo is like a massive Batman fanboy?
Oh, I am.
Full disclosure, yeah, right. I mean, I love Batman too. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Adam West is S tier. He's like the Batman performance that you kind of have to compare all the other ones to.
Holmes is the benchmark.
In some way or another, they're all doing their own impersonation of Adam West. Whether they realize it or not.
Adam West does indeed fit the role that he is presented. So, you know what? I see where you're coming from. And to be honest, I don't really have a lot to refute it. Other than, to be honest, the action scenes for me have always been real cheesy, real corny, right? But it's not, the thing is, right, is that it fits the aesthetic of a comic book. The thing is that you can tell how horribly fake it is at times, especially when Adam West fights someone like Bruce Lee. Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? So that kind of sucks me out of it, and I don't have that problem with like a Bale or like I'm gonna say what's his name, Robert Pattinson Batman. I don't have those problems with those kinds of Batman, but with Adam West I do, very much so.
You know what I say to that?
What do you say?
Skill issue.
All right. You know what? That's what I'm going to say to everyone who disagrees. Skill issue. Fuck out of here. S tier. Unashamedly. S-tier. You intro this one because I don't even know where to start.
All right. George Clooney Batman from Batman and Robin, also known as the worst live-action Batman movie.
Bat nipples! Of all time.
Well, Val Kilmer had bat nipples, and people don't really rag on him for that.
My bad.
So... Batman and Robin is not just considered the worst Batman movie, but it's considered one of the worst comic book movies. And it's weird because I don't hate it. Batman and Robin reminds me a lot of the Adam West show.
Why does George Clooney look like he's about to drop some fucking fire, though? Like his hands are together, like, they don't know what I'm finna drop in the booth and shit. Hey, yo.
Bro's got the album cover.
He's about to drop the mixtape. That's what I'm saying. Dude, that's wild.
So imagine George Clooney, like in any other movie, right? Mm-hmm. That's George Clooney as Batman.
So it's George Clooney in a bat suit.
It's just George Clooney in a bat suit.
Wonderful.
Yeah. He's not really doing a performance. He's just George Clooney.
He's just George Clooney. Once again, we're not talking about the quality of the film. We're talking about the portrayal as Batman. How do you feel about this Batman?
He's not interesting. This Batman's not really interesting. He's not the best character, even in his own movie. But it's kind of hard to say that when every character is just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Bane. I mean, Mr. Freeze. I said Bane.
Same thing. Same thing.
Same thing. It's a weird movie, but in terms of Batman, George Clooney does not stand out at all because he's just George Clooney.
Bro is not
dressed
special.
As a bat. He's not special. I don't hate George Clooney as Batman though. Mm-hmm. I think he looks like a Batman. I'd probably give him like C.
He looks like a Batman.
He looks like a Batman, yeah.
We are not enthusiastic. C tier.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it's Batman and Robin. It's not a good movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen that movie twice in my childhood, and the only thing I remember is like the Poison Ivy kiss. Is that what that's from?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally only that. That's all I remember. It's like, oh, I have plastic film on my lips. Oh my God. He outsmarted me.
You should watch that movie again.
Bro, I don't want to. I don't want to. Okay, no. Next runner-up. Val Kilmer's portrayal of Batman. How we feeling?
The predecessor to George Clooney. Val Kilmer, and this is something that a lot of Batman fans will tell you. I feel like especially in the last few years, a lot of people have kind of, changed their mind on this movie. Val Kilmer is actually a really good fucking Batman.
Damn.
He's actually really, really good. And it's funny because his performance is not that different to Adam West.
Break it down.
So I mentioned that Adam West is, no matter what scenario he's in, Batman is always the most serious and the smartest guy in the room. And that's exactly how Val Kilmer plays him. He's the smartest guy in the room, and no matter what happens, he's also the most serious. And that seriousness does make for some funny moments. But I feel like what Val Kilmer does best is his Bruce Wayne. You can kind of get the sense that his Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same guy, but there's like just enough different in like how he carries himself as one versus the other that it's like, oh, no one would ever suggest that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Like, I feel like as Bruce Wayne, he's a lot more, social. He's a lot more personable, very confident when he walks into a room. But then when he's Batman, he's, a man of few words. He doesn't speak much. But when he does, it's very clear and very serious and very calm. And he's very stilted as Batman, whereas as Bruce Wayne, you can see a lot more of his expression in his body and his face.
A lot more human.
Yeah.
Well, Val Kilmer's always been a great actor, and he's known for his attention to detail. That's something that he does very well. I mean, when he was in movies like Tombstone or whatnot, you can notice all the little mannerisms on rewatches. Val Kilmer knew what the fuck he was doing. He was a crazy good actor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of fans have really changed their mind on this movie, because this used to be considered a terrible movie. Mm-hmm. But you ask a Batman fan now, and they're like, no, Batman Forever was actually, really good for its time. It's very underrated. But I think it's just at the time it was so different from the Michael Keaton ones that came before that it was just kind of rejected for its change.
Bat nipples! I love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
We couldn't get...
And it's not the best movie, but it's an entertaining watch. I mean, like, I don't like Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, but I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. So it's like, you got two villains. One of them's good, the other one I don't like, so... do with that what you will.
I don't have enough experience with Tommy Lee Jones to determine whether or not he's a good actor. I mean, he was okay in Men in Black and whatnot, but he never really gave me a Two-Face look. You know what I mean? He's kind of cold and callous. The Two-Face is kind of Tommy Lee Jones doesn't give me the deranged feel, like, at all. You know what I mean? Let's see. He seems a lot more premeditated.
Yeah. And his Two-Face feels like something that would be from the Adam West show, not necessarily like the Two-Face that we get in the Dark Knight or in the Arkham games. Like, he was a very, very goofy, very silly Two-Face. Mm-hmm. And it honestly, for me, it doesn't work for a character like that. And it doesn't help that, like, Jim Carrey is kind of goofy in almost any movie he does. and so obviously the Riddler is a very goofy character, and so you put Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face next to the Riddler in that movie, and it's not even a competition, man. Jim Carrey's like outdoing him in every single scene.
You gotta love Jim Carrey, dude.
Gotta love Jim Carrey.
When he's given a comedic role, he acts his heart out. But when he's given a serious role, dude knows what he's doing. Like, he's just such a versatile actor. He's so underrated. He really is.
Yeah.
People always like point him out for his comedy, and his comedy's great. But dude, him as an actor is wild. If you've seen the Majestic, directed by Frank Darabont, you know that Jim Carrey can blow your fucking mind. He's ridiculous how good he is. He does whatever the fuck he wants, acting wise. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, Jim Carrey's fucking incredible.
That all being said,
yeah,
we're talking about the portrayal Val Kilmer
of Batman. Yeah.
What are we thinking?
So I think Val Kilmer. The thing is, I know a lot of people would put him in S tier, and I'm considering putting him in A tier.
Well, the criteria here is he playing the character he's given well? Like his specific Batman. We're not talking about Batman as a whole. His specific Batman. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say in terms of performance, him as Batman with the character he's given, the script he has, everything, I would put Val Kilmer in S tier. Mm-hmm. But the movie he's in is not S tier. That's how I'll phrase that.
I feel like probably a good compromise is, you said earlier, you said A tier.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty... Go ahead.
Because he has a lot to do as Batman. And Batman Forever is like one of the only Batman movies that's about Batman. And I just feel like that... I feel like for me, what holds back Val Kilmer as Batman is that when I think of Batman, I don't think of Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
He doesn't scream iconic to me. You know, he feels like just another version of Batman.
He does well. Val Kilmer does well with what he's given, but he's not given enough.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. Anything else?
But he just doesn't scream Batman to me. That's the only thing for me with Val Kilmer. I know a lot of people are going to disagree, hardcore Batman fans, but for me, he doesn't scream Batman.
Well, you see, if they disagree, it's irrelevant because all our opinions are indeed fact. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
you're right.
Fuck out of here. That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
A Batman that I actually know, even though I only saw the first movie. Michael Keaton, Batman, 1989.
Yep.
How we feeling? Break it down.
Gotta love Michael Keaton. I mean, aside from Adam West, Michael Keaton was the first Batman.
Cinematic.
Like the first, dark and serious Batman. And he does a pretty good job, but it's also, I think it's another thing of he's not given a lot to do with Batman. And I mentioned...
Go ahead.
I mentioned that Batman Forever is one of the only Batman movies that's actually about Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman movies are not about Batman. It's about Joker. I would argue that Batman 1989 is more of a Joker movie than it is a Batman movie.
You know what? I agree with that. And I'll add this to it. The reason why I don't think of Michael Keaton's Batman, and this is controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. The reason why I don't believe in that Michael Keaton's Batman is an S tier is because Jack Nicholson steals that fucking show. That spotlight gets taken away real fast. As soon as Jack Nicholson walks into a room, Michael Keaton shrinks.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And you see that in their face-off. Michael Keaton, even though obviously Joker's the one in power, Michael Keaton doesn't come off as threatening or anything along those lines when Jack Nicholson is in the same scene. When the Joker is in the scene, that motherfucker steals the show. And I think that kind of takes away his aura for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
But I mean, I would agree with that to an extent, because the thing is, Michael Keaton's Batman doesn't talk very much. He doesn't, do a whole lot. He's just kind of there to like he's just there for the aesthetic a lot of the time, I feel. And Jack Nicholson's Joker, he talks a lot, and so I think it's more of just Jack Nicholson has more to do with his character, a lot more range and variety than Michael Keaton did.
Yes, very much so.
But then I feel like with Michael Keaton, when we talk about him as Batman, iconic, right? Amazing. But I feel like a lot of people kind of ignore his Bruce Wayne. I think Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is pretty underrated.
Really?
Because he's just the guy. Like Michael Keaton, I mean, I'm sure he worked out for the role and everything, but when you look at him as Bruce Wayne, bro looks nothing like a Batman. He just looks like a normal dude. And I feel like that aspect to him is kind of underrated. You even see it with the way he talks to people. He's a bit awkward, and he doesn't really. You can tell he's not really around people a whole lot, but he's still like he's just a guy, and he's rich. He's a billionaire. He's fucking Bruce Wayne, but you wouldn't really get that from seeing him. And I like that it's an aspect in the movie, and we follow Vicky Vale when I guess he's having a party at Wayne Manor. And no one knows where the fuck Bruce Wayne is in the party. And then all of a sudden they go into like one of his secret rooms where he has a bunch of like statues and shit and art pieces, and they're like talking about it. And then, this random dude comes up and says something, and then they're like, "Oh, who are you? I don't think we've met." And he's like, "Oh, I'm Bruce Wayne." It's like, what? You don't look like how I would think of a Bruce Wayne in my head,
That being...
It's unorthodox casting.
Yes, it's unorthodox casting. And you know what? I can appreciate that, but I actually think that I actually disagree with you here. Como se dice, I actually think that him coming off as just a guy is kind of a hindrance to his character. And the reason
you
why...
think so?
Yes, and the reason why mainly is because this is Bruce fucking Wayne we're talking about. We're not talking about Peter Parker. Spider-Man, when he takes off the mask, is just some guy. When Batman takes off the mask, he's a playboy billionaire, and he needs to look and act the part. He's playing a character. When Michael Keaton comes up as Bruce Wayne, it doesn't look like he's playing that suave playboy billionaire. He's just playing like he's some guy. And I don't think that really fits the Bruce Wayne character. I feel like the Bruce Wayne character, like a Christian Bale, that's my Bruce. That's a Bruce Wayne. Ben Affleck, that's a Bruce Wayne, because they come off as suave billionaires. They're playing the part. Like the character is playing the part of Bruce Wayne. He's buying up buildings, that kind of thing, right? And he's coming off as a playboy billionaire. Michael Keaton, he's not doing that. And I'm not blaming the actor. I'm saying that his portrayal, the character that he's given, he's not really given the playboy billionaire thing. He's just given off the I'm just some guy that people barely know vibe, and that doesn't really track, for Bruce Wayne, who's supposed to be, como say, he's supposed to be out there. He's supposed to be rich. He's supposed to be suave. It doesn't. Yeah. For me, it doesn't fit Bruce Wayne aesthetically.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure, but I also feel like for Tim Burton's Batman movies, Bruce Wayne is very much a recluse. He's not out in the public eye very often, and so I like the idea that Bruce Wayne he's kind of like this mystery figure. Like people know about Bruce Wayne, people know him, but they make it clear that someone like Vicky Vale, who's a reporter, who knows all the big players in Gotham, when she goes to Wayne Manor for a party to see Bruce Wayne, she doesn't recognize him at first. And I like that aspect of it. I understand it goes against kind of what Bruce Wayne is, but I like that Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is a lot more low-key and a bit more of just a guy, compared to the others. Because he's not in the public limelight as often as the others are. Like his Bruce Wayne very much feels like businessman, right? Like he runs the company from behind the scenes. He's not in front of the cameras. He's not, walking red carpets and everything that often. And then, so I like it because it feels like his Bruce Wayne and Batman are kind of mixed in that way. Because with Batman, people know about Batman. People see, or have heard about Batman, but you don't really see Batman that often, at least not in public, right? If you're just a normal Gotham citizen, you're not going to see Batman on every street corner. And so I like that those two kind of have a similarity, the two sides of Bruce.
I see where you're coming from. I respect that perspective. I'm gonna say I respect them trying to go a little different, trying to do the mystery man rather than the suave, out there playboy billionaire like an Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate that perspective, and I think subjectively I would have to disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from, and I could see how you would place that higher on your list. Absolutely. So, what are you feeling?
I mean, as a longtime Batman fanboy, I gotta say Michael Keaton is S tier. But he is not given a lot to do as Batman in either of his movies. So I'm gonna say A.
You know, I was gonna say A too. Damn. Now, is he better than Val? I was gonna think about S, and I was thinking about S, and then I was looking at the other guys, and I was just really thinking like, even though I love Michael Keaton's Batman, you know, especially como se dice, when he's in the suit, he's making his quips. Like, it's not bad. It's just that, once again, he's not given that much to do, and he's nowhere near as complicated as a Christian Bale or a Robert Pattinson, you know? So, once again, lesser variables, I'd have to say A. Now, is he better than Val or worse than?
I'm going to say he's better. Val Kilmer, his performance is better, but I would say simply for iconography, simply just the aura that Michael Keaton has as Batman, he is better.
Yeah, I'd say A as well, because you also have to think about the fact that he paved the way, just like how Adam West is S tier.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could talk about like objectively, he's like, oh, this character's more complicated, that kind of thing, and like that's cool. But Adam West started it. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a hard thing to beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
like Kevin Conroy, the most iconic Batman voice actor, has said his performance is inspired from Michael Keaton's.
There you go.
There's that.
What more can you say?
Indeed.
All right. The next Batman on the list. Now, this one I've seen all of their movies again and again and again. Big fan of the Nolan trilogy. Christian Bale's Batman. How are we feeling about this one, Squito? How you feel?
Because
I feel like we're gonna disagree on this a little bit. Go ahead.
I think we are gonna disagree on it. Christian Bale is a fucking fantastic actor. Yeah. Gotta love Christian Bale.
Of course.
I mean, I don't trust anyone that is not a fan of Christian Bale.
Right.
But I gotta say, as Batman, I'm not the biggest fan of Christian Bale. Even though I will say he has the best top 3 live action Batman movies, and one of his movies is actually about Batman. So, you know, he gets that.
Right.
Unlike Michael Keaton. I'm referring to Batman Begins. His performance in Batman Begins is incredible. You know, we get to... The movie goes on for over an hour before we even see a hint of Christian Bale as Batman. And his performance as Bruce Wayne is fucking incredible. You know, we get to see the ins and outs of the character, and I think that's what makes Batman Begins so good, is that it's a character study of Bruce Wayne and Batman, unlike any other, you know, Batman movie we've ever seen. And so we get to see a lot of Christian Bale's performance throughout the movie. We get to see a lot of his character. And so as Bruce Wayne, I really love Christian Bale. But I do feel like his Bruce Wayne's a bit of a dickhead.
Yes.
And I don't like that aspect of his Bruce Wayne. Like, I get it. He's playing up the part, right? He's trying to be this unlikable, you know, playboy billionaire.
Right.
Because then, you know, you would never suspect that guy in a million years to be Batman.
Right.
But I don't like that he's a dickhead, because for me, that's not what Bruce Wayne should be. And then as Batman, you know, a lot of people talk shit about his Batman voice. In Batman Begins specifically, his voice is really good. It's in the later movies where, you know, it doesn't sound very good. And I also feel like as Batman, we don't get to see him as much in the suit. As much as I would like to, anyway.
You're talking about like throughout the trilogy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like these movies feel very Bruce Wayne centric, and I'd probably say The Dark Knight is where we see, him as Batman the most. That's probably the most balanced. Would you agree? Or he's Bruce Wayne and Batman throughout The Dark Knight.
I mean, The Dark Knight Rises had a lot of Batman.
No, no. In a 2.5 hour movie, he is in the Batman suit for 8 minutes.
Yeah, really. Felt like longer.
Yeah. No. It's just that his scenes in the Batsuit are very iconic.
That's what
and
it
memorable.
is, right? Yeah. I was thinking, like, how long was he in that hole again? Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, a long.
It's been a little while. My bad, y'all. Dark Knight,
Yeah.
definitely the most. Yes, definitely the most.
Yeah.
Batman Begins was second. Yes, very much so. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to piece it together now. I'm a little sleep deprived. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good.
Continue.
I'm just yapping here. I'm just rambling.
Continue to yap. I'm here. I got some retorts, but go ahead.
Yeah. So the thing is, for me, the Nolan Batman movies, I love them and I hate them. I love them for what they did with the character. Right? They put Batman in the spotlight probably more than he's ever been, and
that I have no doubt.
A lot of people love the Batman movies. I mean, I love every Batman movie, but when people say like, "Oh, The Dark Knight's one of the best superhero movies ever made," I don't really agree with that notion.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so there was a time in my life where The Dark Knight was my favorite movie. So I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, as I've watched and experienced a lot more different kinds of Batman content, the idea of who Batman should be in my head is a lot different than how Christian Bale's Batman is.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard to explain because I feel like as Batman, I wish we got a lot more of just him as Batman interacting with other people. Because, I mean, we see him with Jim Gordon and Alfred and stuff, but
he left early all the time, that motherfucker.
He did. He left early all the time, and it feels like a lot of his interactions are cut short. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we get a lot of Christian Bale as Batman, but at the same time we don't.
Well, como se dice? I do have this question to ask you. What do you think of the closest to the closest to your image Batman? I'll take a guess. The Arkham trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty close. So the ideal version of Batman for me is the animated series.
The animated 100%. Series. I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, 100% is Batman the animated series, but the Arkham games are really close because the Arkham games are basically taken from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bit darker and more mature than the show was.
Indeed.
But yeah, so when I think Batman, I think the animated series, and so the reason I say that Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne doesn't fit the Bruce Wayne in my head is because I mentioned his Bruce Wayne's a dick. He's a dick, and he's unlikable, and I would never be friends with that guy in a million years. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the animated series, Bruce Wayne always felt like he was out to help people, no matter what, and it shows that whether he's in the costume or out of it, he's always thinking of the people of Gotham, and so he's doing his best to help them. And Christian Bale has had moments of that, where you can see that he wants to help the city, but it feels like those movies also really downplay his power as Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
It's mostly focused on the Batman side, which I can see because, they're Batman movies. You want more of the Batman side.
Right.
But I feel like it's not even just the Nolan movies. I think it's all the live-action Batman movies. We don't really get to see the power that Bruce Wayne has in Gotham.
Well,
because he can do so much for the people without wearing the suit.
Yes, like for example, the beginning of Arkham City, where he was talking about taking down the Arkham prison, and he was there at the protest. He was standing in front of a bunch of people in news broadcasts, and then he was brought in. Like that was Bruce Wayne fighting in activism. He doesn't do that here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I feel like just in the movies overall, we haven't gotten a lot of that side of Bruce Wayne, or any. Like, yeah, we hear like, okay, maybe he's donated money, or he sent equipment and stuff to like the police or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But we don't really get to see it that often. And Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne is just unlikable for me. And I don't like that aspect of it. Granted, that's a performance he's putting on to the public. It's not who he really is. But I don't like that part of it. And for me, it's a big part of it. You know, Bruce Wayne's the second half of Batman, and so for me, you have to get Bruce Wayne right just as much as Batman.
You know what? I do like your... Go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, as Batman, he's good. I don't think he's great. I think he's good. I can't really explain why. I just think he's good, but not great.
I feel like his action scenes are very well shot and choreographed. I also think as Batman, he has a demanding presence. The thing is,
he does have an aura,
very much so. The thing is this is one of the big things. Is his very raspy voice. It could be meme-ish at times, right? Como se dice, but you know, como se dice, I don't really fault Christian Bale specifically for that too much. I'm just thinking, like, why in the hell does he have to pull off the raspy voice? Like, why is that a thing? Why can't he just speak in a dark, demanding tone or something along those lines, right?
And his voice can be really good. Like, if you guys haven't seen it in a while, I encourage you to rewatch clips or something of Batman Begins, because his voice was really good in that movie. And then you watch The Dark Knight, and it's like night and day. It's like, what the hell happened here? Now he's gargling marbles.
Yeah, for real. So I agree with that specific part. But one thing that I find very interesting about Nolan Batman, because I understand where you're coming from with, not Nolan Batman, Nolan Bruce Wayne. I understand where you're coming from, and I actually like that version of Batman. Absolutely, I love that version of Bruce Wayne. But I also love this version of Bruce Wayne. And the reason why I love the version of Bruce Wayne is because it's more likely to be realistic. And what I mean by that is Bruce Wayne, and I'm not talking about him in a cover. I'm talking about him being a product of his environment. When a soldier goes out to fight in a war, or when police officers are going out every day, their social interactions are kind of hindered by the constant BS and violence and crazy shit that they see on a day-to-day basis. They're a lot more standoffish. They may even come off as an asshole at times, because through all the craziness, they need to decompress in some way, and some people don't really have a healthy way of decompressing, and so their social interactions are hindered because of that. I feel like Bruce Wayne is more of a dickhead, como se dice, and he also lashes out at people more often because of the circumstances that he's constantly being put in. He's seeing his city, pretty much the world to him, being burnt around him. You know what I mean? People killing each other, politicians being corrupt and getting people out of jail, and he feels like he's powerless at times. And so those emotions kind of leak through Bruce Wayne. You know, it's not all just an act. Those moments where he's rude, those moments where he lashes out, those moments where it seems like he's clouded by rage, it's because he's a product of his environment and what he's putting himself through, you know, along with, of course, the childhood trauma. So I do see where you are coming from, and I like that version of Batman, absolutely, but I also really like this Batman because it is more likely to be the case than the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these movies they encourage realism a lot.
Right. And they take liberties, you know.
Yeah, they do for sure, especially with Begins. Begins is the most unrealistic of the three.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's just the thing with Christian Bale's Batman is he's a very cold character, at least to others, right? And you know, Batman, when we think of him, he is, you know, kind of big and emotionless,
right,
and kind of stilted. But I feel like with Bale's Batman, with the people he's around, like say like Jim Gordon, right? I want to see a bit of a softer side to his Batman. Not just the front that he's putting up.
Because Christian Bale could pull it off. We all know that.
Christian Bale can pull it off.
He can pull off anything.
Yeah. Like I said, I fucking love Christian Bale.
Right.
And I would love to see if there's any scenario where he can come back as Batman for like a cameo or something. I would be there for it. I'd be, you know, the first one to cheer. Yeah. in a packed theater. But it's just his Batman is good, but it's not the Batman that I want, I guess is the best way for me to put it. It's a good Batman, but it's not my Batman.
I see where you're coming from, and aesthetic and subjectively, I disagree with you, but I see where you're coming from, and you lay your points very well. One more thing I'm going to add to my argument is there's a reason why you don't send a 20-year-old grizzled SWAT veteran in as a negotiator. You send in a negotiator, the guy who doesn't have to deal with the violence day to day. You deal with the guy who studies in speech and that kind of thing. It's the same thing with Batman. When he's talking to people, when he's being, when he's talking to people, whether he's being authoritative with enemies or he's trying to convey information or get information from a police officer like Jim Gordon, he gets what he needs and he gets the fuck out. He doesn't cut the BS. He doesn't try to make small talk. He doesn't try he doesn't try to be diplomatic in any way, and he doesn't really care about the other person's feelings. He's simply trying to get the means to get to the end. You get my drift? He's just trying to collect enough so he can continue, because he's seen it all. He's grizzled, he's broken, he's doing all this, but he's saving the city anyway because he needs to, So once again, I understand where you're coming from, and you lay your thoughts very well. And while I disagree with your subjective viewpoint, I understand it. But I have to say that I like this version of Batman, and I think it's on the caliber of this version of Bruce Wayne. And I'd have to say that this caliber of Bruce Wayne is on par with with your version of Batman. I'm gonna say nicer or some shit. Your version of Batman. I think it's on par with that version. With all that being said, what are we thinking about on the tier list? The thing is, I don't feel comfortable putting this Batman below Val Kilmer. I really don't. All right?
No, he's not below Val Kilmer.
And I don't know if Val Kilmer deserves A. I'm being honest. Really?
I'm thinking we move George Clooney down to F. Because like I said, he's not even...
Holmes
he's just George Clooney.
He's a stand-in. All right, F.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's just George Clooney.
And then you want to put Val Kilmer where? You want to keep him in A?
We can move him to B.
All right, I'm thinking B, and I'm thinking Bale. Worse than Keaton. Worse than Keaton.
For me, yes. For me, I prefer Michael Keaton. Hard.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give it to you. But fans know where I stand. He's fucking here. All right?
Yeah.
But I'll give it to you. That's there. All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Michael Keaton's S. You think Christian Bale's S. So there's that.
Fair enough.
You know what? I'll give you this. You can put him above Keaton.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I appreciate
you can
that.
put him above Keaton.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to take too much from you. The thing is, right, is that there's more variables with this Batman than Keaton's Batman.
Yeah,
a lot more variables, a lot more relationships.
There's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more characters, a lot more story threads with Bale's Batman than Keaton's.
So what?
Because Keaton's not even the main character in his own movies.
Damn.
That's the unfortunate truth about his Batman is, Jack Nicholson's Joker is the main character of the first movie, and Danny DeVito's Penguin is the main character of the second one.
Oh, Jesus. He played the Penguin? Fuck.
With Danny DeVito? Yes, and he did a great fucking job.
Wow, that's wild. I had no idea. Fucking hell. I gotta see that sequel.
No, Batman Returns, I think, is really good.
I gotta see it. It's on the list.
It's probably the most boring Batman movie, but I still like it.
Fair enough. Next Batman. Ben Affleck's of the DCEU. This one for me is a massive mixed bag, and I think the main thing for me is the wasted potential. Fuck the wasted potential.
Oh yeah. Ben Affleck as Batman could have been one of the greatest comic book castings.
He really could have been. He really could have been, because Holmes has the aura, Holmes has the voice, Holmes has the acting acumen. Ben Affleck is a really versatile actor. He knows what he's doing, That being said, some of the material given to him is absolute fucking garbage,
Yep.
Headaches. That's what this character gives me. Fucking headaches. You go off, and then I'll build off of you. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to start with what I like about his Batman.
Let's start with the positives.
I love the aesthetic of his Batman.
Right.
Specifically, let's talk about, just visual, right? Let's talk about his suit. I think his suit is perfect, especially in Batman versus Superman. That suit, it's perfect. It looks exactly like Batman. Affleck wears it very well. It just screams Batman. You look at it and you're like, that's fucking Batman. You know, you can't look at it any other way.
To be honest,
it's a spandex, but it's armored.
To be honest, I'd have to disagree with you on one small thing, and that's the bat symbol. I think it should be a little thinner, a little more sharp. Fat. I don't like the fat bat symbol. Everything else is great.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the fat bat either.
The fat I get bat. What we gotta trademark that. The fat bat. Fuck yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of it either, but I get what they were going for because it's based on that comic series, The Dark Knight Returns, where he has the fat bat. So, I mean, I guess I'm not the biggest fan of the look either. I prefer, like Michael Keaton's yellow oval. That's like my ideal, like bat symbol.
That's a good
one. But yeah, no, aesthetically, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. He looks the part. The way he just kind of stands around other people, the way he commands a room feels like Batman. And not even just as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. Like, as Bruce Wayne, you can tell, like, yeah, that's fucking Bruce Wayne. If I was walking down the street in Gotham and Bruce Wayne walked past me, I'd be like, yo, that's fucking Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne just walked right past me. Like, he looks like a fucking celebrity.
He does.
And it's all the more apparent when, you have, like, the party scene in Batman versus Superman, when he's, like, you can tell he doesn't give a fuck about like whatever the fuck Clark Kent is saying to him, and he's just like, I'm just trying to enjoy the party. For real. Like that's kind of like the vibe he gives off.
For fucking real.
And also, Ben Affleck is 6'4". Bro's a tall ass Batman.
Ben Affleck does not look 6'4". What? I thought he was like 5'7". Really?
No.
Damn.
He's 6'4", and it was purposeful that they wanted to hire an actor as Batman that was taller than Superman, so Superman would physically be looking up to him.
Damn.
Yeah, but they wanted Batman to feel imposing next, because you put Batman next to Superman and you're like, yeah, Superman can fucking murder him in like 2 seconds. But if you have a Batman that's more physically imposing than Superman, then you're like, all right, now we gotta fight.
Hey, yo.
Or it's like, all right, now Batman might kick some ass, And so that was the whole point of Ben Affleck's Batman aesthetic, is you needed someone that was more physically imposing than Superman.
Ben Affleck.
And I think they nailed it.
He pulls that off. Yeah, very much so. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you put him, next to Superman, and he's taller, he's buffer. It's crazy. It's crazy how, like, the difference. But, yeah, so I like the aesthetic of Ben Affleck's Batman. When it comes to the actual character, I'm thinking Batman versus Superman specifically. I'm not really thinking Justice League, but this is the most broken version of Batman that we've seen in live action.
Very Elsewhere-esque, yeah.
Yeah, he's lost everything. He lost Wayne Manor, and he lost the Robin. We don't know his whole history, but he's been Batman for 20 years.
We can assume he lost everything.
We can assume he lost everything except Alfred, right? That's all he's got.
Which is wild.
It's crazy to think. And so he's been Batman for 20 years. He's dealt with the Joker. He's dealt with every villain you can think of. And he's just fucking done with it. He is tired of this shit. Being Batman for 20 years has got to take a toll, not just on your body, but your psyche, your mentality, for sure. Yeah. And so this is probably the craziest Batman as well. I'm not going to say that. We got Robert Pattinson still on the list. But he's up there for sure. I think, Ben Affleck's Batman is probably the most unhinged.
I'd like to add on to this a little bit. Okay. The old man arc, I'm done, I don't give a shit. A lot of people like to say that this Batman version of Batman isn't really Batman because of the fact that he kills like liberally, and you know what, I can agree with that to an extent, but I do want to say that if we were to look at Batman, Bruce Wayne, as a human being and not a god amongst men, 20 years of seeing the most diabolical shit happening in front of your eyes and you being powerless to stop it because you're going to have to save that guy's life just so he could do it again. I don't care how good of a person you are. Like, yeah, that's not going to work out. Listen, I understand that as a comic book character, you want him to be a hero. You want him to save lives. You don't want him to kill. And I understand where you're coming from, but let's break it down Barney style, brother. Dude has been through the equivalent of several wars. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude has gone through so much in his life. The reason why he keeps doing it is because he knows no one else can. He tried to pass this off to other people, and he couldn't. This Batman feels that everything is fruitless and pointless, so the only thing that he can do to stop these criminals is to make it final, and that's kill them. And while I understand, once again, that he may not be a true Batman, that's fair enough, but you gotta think about where the writers are coming from. I think that it makes total sense that after 20 years of going through all this shit, seeing Joker kill hundreds, if not thousands of people, seeing other criminals do horrible, heinous things to innocent people, innocent women, children, all whatever the fuck, and thinking, hey, I'm going to save their life just so they can break out because politicians, corrupt politicians, break them out, and then they do it again and again and again because I can't pull the trigger. I can't kill them myself. I can't dole out God's justice or whatever the fuck. Fuck that. I'm going to make sure that he's not able to do that shit again. Eventually you snap. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Eventually you will snap. Because there's no way. Just like how like people make that argument is like for example, when Punisher was talking to Daredevil in season 2 on that rooftop, he made that one line that was really powerful. He's like, you know, one thing that I know that, I don't know the exact word, but he basically said something along the lines of, you know, one thing that I know that bothers you, Red, is because you know that you're just one bad day from being me. That's it. That's literally it. You go through enough, you stop giving a shit about preserving life. And it makes a lot of sense that this Batman stopped giving a fuck. Really. About criminals, about people who kill people, about people who sell people, about people who do horrible things to men, women, and children. Do you really think that those lives are worth saving? That's Batman's perspective. That's this Batman's perspective. And you know what? I can't disagree with him. The people that he puts down, seems like they deserve it. Especially in that beginning. Remember when he found all those women in that jail cell or whatever in the basement? Yeah, seems like those people aren't worth saving. You know what I mean? Just being honest. They're criminals, not the innocents. You get my drift. So even though a lot of people say that this isn't my Batman, that's fair. It doesn't need to be your Batman. But don't say it's illogical, because it's definitely fucking logical. All right?
Yeah.
That's it. Continue.
And, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on Batman versus Superman as a movie and, you know, the DCEU and everything. But when it comes to the no-kill rule, right, with Batman, in live action, pretty much every Batman has killed. Especially Michael Keaton. I just feel like Ben Affleck's Batman is the first one to really acknowledge that.
Right. Which
and
is
give him a reason for
ballsy. Go ahead.
And it's not just that, but, you know, a lot of people are, oh, Batman's supposed to be a hero. He's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be this. Ben Affleck's Batman, sure, he's supposed to be all these things, but he's not.
Right.
And that's the point of his character. He's at rock bottom. Literally. He's at the end of his life. He does not give a fuck anymore. And so this version of Batman is not the same hero that we're used to. I mean, listen to even something as simple as Batman's theme song in Batman vs. Superman. It sounds like a villain theme. It doesn't sound like the theme of a hero. It doesn't sound hopeful and inspiring. A shit sounds like
a prowling predator. To murder you. Yeah, a predator. Yeah. Exactly.
So, you know, you can say all these things about, oh, he's not my Batman, or he's supposed to be this. Batman vs. Superman is a deconstruction of Batman's character. They stripped him of all the things that we know about him and said, okay, what if we had a Batman who wasn't Batman? And his journey through Batman vs. Superman and onto Justice League is about him kind of rediscovering himself. The Batman he is in the beginning of Batman vs. Superman and the person he is at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, two different characters. He's more of a Batman at the end of Justice League than he is in the beginning of Batman vs. Superman. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't get. Just because the character wears the costume and has the look doesn't mean they are 100% that character.
Right. That, and of course it's not. And one more thing I want to add to that. One more thing I want to add to that, and I'll let you continue. Is that, brother, this Batman, you can draw a comparison to this Batman to a lot of things. A man who has lost faith in himself, in the world. I feel like a good comparison to this Batman is Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad. If you think about Mike Ehrmantraut in Better Call Saul, you think that, he avenges his son's death, and now he's gonna try to he's gonna do bodyguard work, but he's not gonna kill people. He's gonna make money so he can make good on his daughter-in-law. And then over time, he gets an innocent person killed, and then over time, it gets worse and worse and worse until eventually he feels condemned. Until eventually he feels damned. He's filled with so much self-hatred, and he refuses to process all of that guilt and all of that grief. That he just thinks that he's damned, he's screwed, he's a lost cause, so instead I'm just going to go out there, sacrifice myself to make as much money as possible for my granddaughter and my daughter-in-law. That kind of comparison can draw directly to Batman, where for over 20 years he's tried to do the right thing, he's tried to do it the way that he's supposed to, that the ideology fits, but over time, over losing so much and not really giving himself time to process any kind of grief or to thoroughly think these things through, he snaps. The thing is, he can't allow himself to give him this time, to allow himself to be given this time, because he knows he's the only thing between him and the end of Gotham. He knows that. Mm-hmm. No one else is going to be there to save Gotham. He's the last line of defense. He's the only line of defense. Mm-hmm. And that's the amount of pressure he puts on himself. And once again, Bruce Wayne, only human. So, Once again, he's an old man at the end of his rope that has simply lost faith in the world around him and has lost his humanity. That's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I mean, look at the Gotham around him, too. Because a big argument that Hugo Strange has against Batman in Arkham City is that Batman has arguably made things worse for Gotham.
Yes.
If it wasn't for Batman, all these other villains wouldn't be here. And so Ben Affleck's Batman kind of has to face that, too, where he's tried to do so much for Gotham and he's tried to protect his city and do all these things, but maybe he's made it worse. This Batman hasn't stopped caring about the people. He obviously still cares about his city and he wants to protect it.
Right.
But it's just, what are the means that he's going to do to achieve that goal now?
He's not going to go that extra mile.
If you haven't made a difference, or if you've made things worse in the 20 years that you've been Batman, your methods have to change.
The ends justify the means.
It's simple as that.
Fact is, you want a criminal off the street permanently, you don't put him in a cell. You put him 6 feet under. Mm-hmm. That's his mentality change. He realized that's really the only way to keep him kaput, because there's a lot of people that are dead now that wouldn't be dead if he just fucking killed them. And so he made that decision. And people don't agree with it. And there's definitely an argument to be had there that he should remain above the criminals. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, bro, if we're just talking about the body count, it'd be a lot less if Batman just pulled out the Glock. You know what I'm saying? Let's be frank. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, there definitely is an argument there, but I see where the writers are coming from. Very much so.
Yeah. And, that being said, I definitely look at the DCEU and this Batman as an Elseworld version. It's not the definitive Batman.
Of course.
It's another version of Batman, another take on the character, which I do like this take, but obviously it's not the Batman that I see in my head. So it's, if we're talking in terms of performance, if we're talking, Ben Affleck, the direction he was given, the script he worked with, I think Ben Affleck killed it. And I really like his version of Batman. I wish we got to see a little more of him. I wish he got a solo movie, but things happen. You don't always get what you want. But I think overall Ben Affleck did a great performance, and he carried himself well as the character. And you can see it's almost like you can see the character's history in just the way he walks and the way he talks to people, and it's in his mannerisms, right? He carries the weight of the past 20 years on him.
Yes, very much so.
So I really, really like Ben Affleck's Batman.
Now, what I don't like is how he was used a lot for comedic relief and shit like Justice League and the Whedon cut and the Flashpoint, his little cameo. Fact is, I don't really like that he was instantly transformed in like, oh, the comedy fix it guy instead of the old man who doesn't give a fuck. You know, I truly don't like that transformation. While it isn't Ben Affleck's fault, you have to factor that in.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't really have much to say on the negatives because they're quite readily apparent. Once again, it's the writing decisions. It's the complete switch up and just abandonment of his arc. Like, abandonment of his fucking arc. And como se dice? If Batman truly cared, once again, like, if Batman truly cared about all those people that Superman could potentially kill, like I feel like the follow-through of his character at the end is with the whole Martha scene. It's just... It's not the fact that he yelled Martha that gets me. It's the fact that Batman didn't follow through in general. You know? The fact that they built it up to the point where he was about to kill him. I mean, there's a million ways that they could have done it to where they didn't even need to fucking fight. Superman could have just said, oh yeah, no, this is a trap, Lex Luthor's doing this, but he didn't say that. He just delayed it, right? But of course we need a fight, so fair. Yeah. My thing is, the fact that Batman didn't follow through shows us that the entirety of the narrative that you were trying to build up is false. You know what I mean? Like, show it. You know what I would have preferred? If Wonder Woman got in the middle of it. If Wonder Woman just fucking got in the middle of it, some shit. It's a lot better than just screaming Martha and Batman saying, you know what, I'm good. What? No. Have Wonder Woman get in the middle of it and then explain the situation. Something like that. I just don't see appealing to Batman's humanity as a good character trait when throughout the entire film, and he hasn't been getting better. In fact, he's been getting worse. Throughout the entire film, you've been building him up as a fucking masochistic killer. You know what I mean? You know? Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense, the sudden switch up. What's up?
I watched the video essay, and honestly, I forget who it's from. I don't remember if it was the Cosmonaut Variety Hour that said this or High Top Films, but it was someone, right? There's a video essay on Batman vs. Superman, and they said that the Martha scene would work much better if Batman never killed anyone throughout the movie.
Right. Yeah, I remember that video essay. I've seen that one. Go ahead.
Because the entire movie, Batman is planning how he's going to murder Superman. The entire movie. You know, this is villain shit.
Yes.
He's planning out how he's going to murder Superman, and it would be much more impactful if this murder he was planning was going to be his first kill.
Right, his first kill. Exactly. I just remembered
because
that.
Then,
thank you.
When you hear the Martha thing and he snaps out of it, it's like, oh shit, what was I just about to do?
Yeah.
I was just about to betray everything I stood for, to kill this alien that is seemingly human just like me.
You know what that's called? Huh. Writing yourself into a fucking corner. That's exactly what it is.
This is just me talking about Batman v Superman in general, but I do think there's a strong disconnect between the script and the execution of the script.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people have problems with Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, right? Like the performance, and he comes off as kind of like a Riddler-esque character, and he's kind of crazy and weird. But then if you listen to his lines, or if you just read his lines, and you imagine them with, like, Clancy Brown's Lex Luthor from the Justice League cartoon, if you imagine him saying those lines, it feels like Lex Luthor. But then you see the movie, and it's a different, version of it, where he's a bit, crazy and weird. And so there's that disconnect for me with that movie of the script feels comic accurate in a way, but then when you watch the movie, you're like, oh, now Batman's killing people.
Well, who the hell directed the cast? That's what I want to know.
Zack Snyder.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's 100% a Zack Snyder decision for Batman to kill people and...
Right, but it's not even...
Lex Luthor to be the weird...
Exactly, it's Luthor. That's what I'm getting at, right? Is that Luthor does not meet, like, the traditional version at all, and instead he's doing the crazy shit. My thing is, why Lex Luthor? Jesse Eisenberg could have played another character with a similar goal in mind. You know what I mean?
A Riddler.
Something, you know. And dude, I
mean, hell, in that abandoned building where Batman and Superman were fighting, there's a green question mark spray painted on a wall.
Fuck.
Riddler. Just make him Riddler. I don't know.
That being said, let's get back on topic. Ben Affleck as Batman. For me, while I did like his portrayal, unfortunately, he was given dog shit. All right, because he was given some really cool moments, but the thing is, those moments were taken away by that Martha ending. It really was. Okay?
Yeah.
And I did enjoy that action scene near the end, except once again, they pop it off with him killing somebody, even though he just chose not to kill. Fuck, you know what I mean? It's like just complete contradiction of everything. All right, so...
It's the execution. I'm sure in the script, it was like he was a more traditional Batman.
I love the concept. Absolutely.
Yes.
I despise the execution. I love the concept, and I love Ben Affleck as Batman. That's all I like.
So what do you think in terms of
I'd say if I was hard, I'd go C. And if I was nice, I'd go B. I'm gonna go hard, because Zack Snyder doesn't deserve nice. Not for me. How do you feel?
I think B.
I'm thinking C. Is he really the equivalent of Val Kilmer, or just slightly less?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we've been talking about Ben Affleck's Batman for some time now. His version is different. Mm-hmm. Very purposefully different. And so you kind of have to keep that in mind of just, the intention was for his Batman to be different.
Right, but his version of Batman at the end of the day, is very contradictory.
It is very contradictory, but at the end of the day, he does feel like a Batman.
No, I'm not buying it. Sorry, I'm not buying it. C tier. I can't. I'm not buying it. The reason why I'm not buying it is very simple. I like this Batman. I like the aesthetic of Batman. He feels like a Batman. You could say that, but then you look at the subject matter and you think, what the fuck? I'm not going to say he's a B tier up with Val Kilmer, who actually feels as perfect, feels like a Batman, and what's the word? Is the script for this Batman, does it make anywhere near as many contradictions as this one?
No.
Is this Batman, reasonably sound? Like, nothing too crazy out of the ordinary for this Batman?
It's just Batman.
It's just Batman.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this Batman, who's contradictory and full of controversy, but controversy is a good thing, but mainly it's a contradictory point, along with the fact that the sequels just lead him to be a big fucking clown. I can't imagine putting him right next to Val Kilmer. I can't. I have to go see. I have to. Someone's got to go and see. Look at the list. Someone's got to go and see, dude.
The thing is, for me, is I always forget about the sequels.
Yeah.
With Ben Affleck.
Well, then there you go. We got to factor them in. He's in there.
Yeah.
Batman has went from an old man who kills people to, funny batarang with Flash moment. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
What'd he do? He drove around the fuck, yeah. That's it. So yeah, I have to say C. Any thoughts?
No, I've expressed everything I can about Ben Affleck's Batman.
Fair enough. Real mixed emotions, because guess what? That concept, Batman killing people and not giving a fuck, really cool. Really cool.
It is cool.
Even if it's not executed well here, and maybe it's completely contradictory to the Batman character, still really fucking cool. All right, I don't care.
That's why I keep saying I would love an alternate Injustice where Batman's the one that turns bad and Superman stays good. And then, I've told that to people and they're like, oh, but then Superman would just kill him in like 2 seconds. You don't understand. They're friends. And Superman doesn't kill unless he really has to. So if this was an Injustice-style universe where they were best friends and then Batman went rogue, Superman is going to be doing everything in his power to get his best friend back on his side.
I definitely want Superman dead in the third act, if that was the case.
if there was an injustice where Batman
Yes, very
went
much
rogue.
so, because that would heighten his power so much more. How are we gonna beat this guy? Kind of thing. You gotta kill Superman in the third act. Oh yeah, easy, easy. Next Batman, the final Batman so far,
Yeah, the most recent Batman.
and probably the most badass, Robert Pattinson, the Batman 2022. I've watched this movie once in theaters with Squito, and I remember coming out of the theaters thinking, this is Seven with Batman in it,
Yes.
and I'm here for it. Like,
Yeah.
Was this film R-rated?
No.
It was close.
PG-13.
It was fucking close.
Oh, they pushed the boundaries of what PG-13 could be.
For fucking real. Dude, this Batman, the film itself, masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Amazing. That being said, does this Batman trump a Bale or Keaton or West?
I'm going to be entirely biased.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I feel like this Batman in particular did not have to deal with anywhere near as many variables as a Bale. That's what I think.
No. And I think that works in his favor. The fact that the movie it's a very simplified plot. I mean, it's a detective story, right? Kind of a murder mystery, and Batman is perfect for it.
Of course.
And so I feel like the emphasis, right, on this being a Batman-centered detective story really works in his favor. And we don't really see a lot of Bruce Wayne in this movie. And when we do see Bruce Wayne, it's just to help kind of extend the detective case, because he's not really going out as Bruce Wayne. He's going out as Batman, just without his costume, when you really think about it. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
He's just going out there, to find more info on the Riddler. He's not really caring about putting up the Playboy persona like the other Bruce Waynes.
It's literally Batman almost the entire film. He takes his mask off like,
the
what, 2
entire
times?
film. Yeah. And I've seen people complain about that aspect, right? That's, his Bruce Wayne is not good. He's not a Playboy billionaire.
There's not enough.
You gotta understand.
There's not enough.
This is year 2 Batman. Okay, we talked about Ben Affleck being Batman for 20 years. You got to understand.
I know where you're going. Go ahead. I know exactly where you're going.
You got to understand where this Robert Pattinson Batman is at, mentally, and where he's at in his career. This is a year 2 Batman. He's on his 2nd year of fighting crime, and he does not give a shit about the Bruce Wayne side at all. He wants to make a difference in Gotham. He thinks the only way he can do that is by being Batman. He doesn't see the potential of what he can do as Bruce Wayne. He only sees Batman. He thinks he has to be Batman. He has to be vengeance, right?
You hit
his arc in the...
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
No, you go ahead, and then I'll let you finish. You're on a roll. Go ahead.
I'm going to say his arc in the movie is about him being vengeance, but learning that Batman is not just a symbol of vengeance for the criminals, but he can be a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham. That's his arc. That's Robert Pattinson's arc in the movie.
And one thing I want to add to that, before you continue your point, one thing I want to add to the fact that people need to understand something, that Bruce Wayne right now is non-existent. You mentioned this. He's non-existent to him. Right now he is Batman, 100% Batman. He has fallen into the Batman character to not only to fight crime and to make a change because he's mad at the world, he's aggressive, but it's also to escape the grief that he has for his parents and all the things that he does. The human emotions that he needs to feel, he doesn't need to feel them when he's wearing the suit. So it's an escape.
Yep. He's obsessed with being Batman.
Because he knows once he takes the mask off, he's got to face the real world, quote unquote. It's hard shit.
And I think that's what makes this Batman.
And to think fighting crime for Batman at this stage is escapism. It's a wild theory. Go ahead.
It is. But it's the truth. And I think that's what makes this Batman so fascinating. He's not, in on TV every day as Bruce Wayne, but he's out in the streets every single night trying to find someone to punch. This Batman is angry, he is brutal, and he's he's still grieving the loss of his parents, like that shit happened yesterday.
Yeah.
He is so angry.
The thing is, he's not grieving. He's not processing. He's going. He's not grieving. And all of that pent-up emotion is turning into rage, which then he then dishes out on the low lives of Gotham. I mean, why do you think he's so aggressive in the action scenes? Like, remember that trailer where he punches the guy so many fucking times, and then when he falls on the floor, punches him twice more? Fuck off.
Yep. Yep.
You know? He's already dead, you know?
So that's why I kind of held back on saying Ben Affleck's the craziest Batman. Robert Pattinson's Batman is something's not right.
He's borderline. He's borderline. Like he wants to kill, but he knows he shouldn't.
Yeah, he's crossing that line. I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to be eating through a straw.
He's
for the rest
straddling
of your life,
that line big time. Yeah. It's like an Injustice is like, oh, you can't kill him, but brain damage works. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And his Batman is just so fascinating, and the way Robert Pattinson plays him is perfection.
You gotta love it.
It's so good. He's a very introverted Batman compared to what we've seen. You know, when he's in a room with, when he was filled with those cops, when they're looking around the crime scene in the mayor's apartment, he's just, he's not talking to anyone, but he's just observing. That's what Robert Pattinson Batman does a lot. He observes. He doesn't speak a lot, and he's not really, the kind to toss up ideas. He's observing, and he's just kind of watching. And the fact that he does that makes him the smartest person in the room. There's a shot in once again when they're the mayor's, crime scene.
Right.
There's a shot in the movie where I don't know if a lot of people caught this, but there's a mark on the floor, a piece of blood that's left from the murder weapon that Riddler used, because when Riddler killed the mayor, he dropped the weapon and then he had to go and pick it up because it slipped out of his hand. There's a small speck of blood from the weapon on the floor. And then, you have all these forensics people, right? People taking pictures of all the evidence and, marking it and everything. Batman walks over to that little speck of blood. He stares at it for a bit, and then he walks away. But the fact that he was staring at that specific spot on the floor, one of the forensic people noticed, and then they took a picture of it. They missed that piece of evidence completely. They walked over it the entire time.
Bro!
Batman is the only one that went over, looked down, saw that speck of blood on the floor, and then he walked away. And he just continued looking at the rest of the apartment without saying a word.
That's subtlety.
He observes.
I love the emphasis on the best detective of the world. In the world, the entire film is literally Bat Detective. I love it.
Yeah, and this is year 2. He's not perfect.
Right, he's not perfect.
He makes a lot of mistakes.
Of course, he's learning it, right? But one thing I do want to add, right, is I just like how, como se dice, even though I love Christian Bale's portrayal, I do really. I think one of the most memorable scenes to me was when he was checking ballistics in The Dark Knight. When he saw a bullet hole in the wall, he took that chunk out. He went back to the lab, got it processed, got it analyzed. It's like, oh, I know where this bullet comes from. That kind of thing. Little shit like that goes so far in a Batman film because once again, you need to emphasize the detective stuff. I love those scenes in the Dark Knight trilogy. In this film, it's literally the entire film, and it's beautiful. It really
so
is.
Good. And when we talked about Christian Bale's Batman, I mentioned how I wanted his Batman to have some kind of a warmth, right? He show a little bit of that emotion that he has, and I get it, right? When he's talking to criminals, obviously he's not going to be emotional in front of criminals. Right. He's trying to make them scared. You're not going to do that. But in this movie, when towards the end, when the stadium's flooded and everyone is trapped underneath like all the rubble and everything, and then here comes Batman with a flare, the only light in the entire room, everything's pitch black. He's the only one with a light, and it's just a small subtle thing. Batman moves the debris out of the way, and then you have the newly elected mayor there, and then there's a little kid who was the previous mayor's son, the mayor that died at the beginning of the movie. His son is there. And in that first crime scene when they were investigating, the son is being questioned by the police. and Batman notices him, and Jim Gordon says, "Yeah, the kid found him." And then just the look that Batman gives the kid shows, like, he knows what he's going through. He's been in that kid's place.
Yes, very much so.
And then that kid shows up again later when he's not wearing the suit as Batman, when he's just Bruce Wayne, and he's staring at the kid again as Bruce Wayne. But then we get circle back to the end with when the stadium's all flooded and everything. Batman reaches out his hand to pull the people out of the rubble, and the mayor, she's afraid of him because she doesn't know what Batman's capable of. For her, he's a vigilante. He's just a criminal. But that same kid grabs his hand. Mm-hmm. And in a way, it's like he's saving himself. He's pulling himself out of the rubble. And I think just the small emotion, just the way that Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit holds his hand out to the people. And he's holding up the flare. It's the only source of light in the room. And the way he's looking at everybody. There's so much emotion in his eyes and the way he carries himself that goes so far with this version of Batman. This version of Batman is very emotional. He's a detective, he's a logical thinker, but in the way he carries himself and the way, Robert Pattinson does a lot of eye acting here.
Very much so.
It focuses a lot on his eyes. And throughout the entire movie, you can see exactly what Batman is thinking in his eyes the entire time. From start to finish, every thought going through Batman's head, whether it's logical or emotional. And I think that scene when he's trying to help the people out goes so far. And you immediately follow that up with when, you have all these people, all these survivors up on the roof of the stadium. And there's that shot of Batman carrying the woman through the crowd with the sun rising in the distance. Such a good shot. One of my favorites in the entire movie. He's carrying the woman, and he puts her out on the stretcher to be airlifted because she's hurt. And as soon as he puts her down, she grabs his arm as if like she doesn't want him to let go. Mm-hmm. And just the look that he gives her, it's like now he understands what he can do as Batman, what Batman stands for the people. And there's
in the way.
It's so fucking good. You can clearly tell I love this movie, and I'm so biased with this Batman, but it's just the mannerisms, the aesthetic, the detective work, the way he fights people, everything. The way Robert Pattinson carries himself as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, it's perfect. It is to me, the Batman is the perfect live action portrayal of the character. And it's the best live action Batman movie. Hands down.
Enough said.
Easy. I saw this movie 8 times in theaters. 8 fucking times.
Home sounds desperate, dog. I saw this movie 8 times.
Probably 8 times in theaters, and I don't even know how many more times I've seen it here at home.
I have nothing else to add to this except the film itself, cinematography-wise. Como say, cinematography-wise, beautiful. The shots, the subtlety, the layers, the villain, everything about the film was awesome. But the portrayal, for now, is literally the perfect portrayal of Batman. I feel you, I understand you, and I think that the other films definitely have more variables that they could fuck up to a degree, and specifically Affleck and Keaton. But I think that this one is also infinitely more complicated than Keaton's character, and I think Christian Bale's character is definitely more complicated because it has a trilogy of films. And I feel like
he has a lot
more to work with, right? So I'd have to say that right now, if it continues to go this way, it will continue to stay at S. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt, this will continue to stay at S. But if the sequels afterwards tend to fuck it up, make them contradictory, we're looking at lower and lower because we're talking about all entries. All right. But that being said, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to stay up here. So we'll see. Yeah. But this Batman...
I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that for a sequel, we just want to see more Bruce Wayne.
Yes. Yes.
Because he was Batman the entire movie for this movie. I think a little bit more Bruce Wayne would be appreciated.
I think it's the most logical step, storytelling wise. Yes, very much so.
For sure.
They're leading into that, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you had to say?
No. Batman's perfect, and now I want to watch it again.
Go see the Batman.
Yeah. Also, you want to know a fun fact about the cinematography?
No. Anyway, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
You were just mentioning how beautiful the movie was. When they were renting out those lenses that they used for the movie from, I don't know what company it was, but the camera company that they got all their cameras from, they said that those were the worst lenses that they had.
Damn.
And then they were able to make the movie look as good as it was with the quote unquote worst lenses that they have.
Movie magic.
But it's just because all the focus and shit was like messed up. But that's why there's a lot of like very shallow depth of field type shots in the movie. Mm-hmm. But that shit look good. That shit look good as fuck.
When you give people who are talented enough dog shit equipment, they can make great movies. It is what it is.
Yeah.
What can you do?
You take shit and you make lemonade.
Yeah. Nah, you make a lemon smoothie, bro. That fuck out of here. Yeah, overall, great Batman. Yeah. And I think right now, he hasn't fucked up anywhere near as much as all the other Batmans. So, there you go. All right, now we've reached the Joker chapter of this tier list.
Joker.
Oh boy, I am not educated on the first one. I am educated on all the other ones, although Jack Nicholson, I may forget a few scenes. That being said, let's start with the first one. Intro him. Go ahead. Do it.
Cesar Romero, the Joker to Adam West's Batman. The man's so ballsy that he refused to shave his mustache for the role.
Damn.
So you can just see his mustache painted white underneath all the makeup in a lot of scenes. It's going to be hard to see it in that picture, but it's there.
Tough.
The mustache is there. I mean, Cesar Romero is... I mean, think of like how Joker would be in like a cartoony 1960s Batman, and that's kind of what you get. It's a hard one to rank because he's just a clown. A murderous clown, for sure.
A murderous clown.
But he's a clown.
That being said...
He's not as scary as the others.
That being said, I doubt he reaches the level of a Ledger, Nicholson, or Phoenix.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of the show, but I do remember seeing a couple scenes. He doesn't give off that aura.
No, he's not scary, but he is funny. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what they were going for, obviously, because it's a kid's show. But he's really funny.
That being said, I think I know exactly where to put him. I know where to put him.
Go for it.
I know where to put him.
Just go for it. Yeah.
I know where to put him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
A tier. I think he's a great Joker for what he was. Como se dice, it was simple, yes, of course, but overall, he's a funny Joker in a comic book show made for kids.
Yeah. I wouldn't put him in S tier, but I would give him the same respect that I give Adam West.
Absolutely, respect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, the pioneer. What can you do, right?
Yeah.
Now I can tell you right now that 3 of these characters are going to be S tier.
And one of them has his own category.
I wonder who. So let's break it down. Jack Nicholson as Joker. I want to start with this one. Oh, he's your favorite?
Yeah, he actually is.
I respect you. Very much so. I respect him very much so. I love Jack Nicholson's Joker. I think Jack Nicholson is simply Joker himself. Like he was born to play the role. You know? I think that this Joker, while not seemingly as crazy as, let's say, a Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix, is definitely premeditated, and he whenever he's on the screen, he grabs your attention immediately. You know, he grabs you at the shoulders and shakes you. You know, he demands your presence, and you can't take your fucking eyes off of him whenever he's on the screen. Jack Nicholson has always been one of the best actors of all time, and him lending his talents over to Joker was like pouring honey into your coffee. Like it's
a match made in heaven.
It really is. Now, the fact that we don't have Willem Dafoe as Joker is criminal, but
Facts.
at least we got Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more for me to say other than that if he's not perfect, he's the closest thing to it.
Yeah. My dad and I, we quote Jack Nicholson's Joker all the time.
Gotta love
He's
Jack
the funniest one.
Yeah, no, Jack Nicholson's dark comedy is top A tier. But the top tier, rather. Top tier, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
I mean, the simple scene of the... Do you remember the Joy Buzzer scene? I bet that scarred kids when it came out. Bro goes in for a handshake and electrocutes you to death to the point where you're just the fucking charred skeleton. Yeah, that's terrifying. But Jack Nicholson's reactions are fucking hilarious.
Dude, I agree. Jack Nicholson.
Ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's like, bro, you're killing him. Bro.
That being said, I do have one critique of this Joker.
What's that?
And that's how he looks without makeup.
Mm.
I'm sorry, that fucking smile is mad plastic, bro. Besides, if I had to find a critique, that's a nitpick more than it is a critique. But yeah.
Wait, when you say without makeup, you mean him like without the white face?
Like without the white face, right. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
he's literally it's the white skin, like it's his normal white skin with the smile, like just at a fucking like plastic breakneck pace. It's weird looking.
Yeah, I think he had to wear like something in his mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Did he need to stuff something in his jaw? Like must be what it was. Jesus.
And I'm pretty sure he complained that it hurt after a while, which I imagine it would.
Of course.
Being forced to keep a smile like that the whole time.
He's stretching his face. Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, really good. That being said, I don't think I have anything else to say about Jack Nicholson except S tier. You?
Yeah. Yeah, S tier. I love him.
We talk a lot less about the Jokers we love because there's a lot less controversy surrounding them. It's just solid quality. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, I'll mention one of my favorite moments when Batman is flying the Batwing towards him and he pulls out the comically large revolver from his pants.
This Joker didn't give a fuck.
That's cinema, bro.
I feel like my favorite scene was always going to be when Jack Nicholson walked in on Bruce Wayne. That's my favorite scene. Jack Nicholson demands that scene, that room every time. It's my favorite scene. He comes in. He basically just walks all over Bruce Wayne. Like fuck
does,
you know what I mean? You gotta love
that's the famous when Michael Keaton breaks the vase. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. And then Jack Nicholson hits him with the "You ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?"
Yeah.
What? It's just something I say. I think it sounds nice, and then he shoots him. No point in that quote at all.
Because he's chaotic, anarchistic. I love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jack Nicholson, top tier.
Also, he dances to Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey yo, is there a higher tier?
the parade at the end of the movie with Joker dancing on the float while throwing cash. Mm-hmm. Perfect. It's cinema.
Yeah, I agree. That is indeed cinema.
Yeah.
It's great. I got nothing else to say. It's just great.
No, it's just great. Jack Nicholson was kind of forced to method act with the prosthetics in his mouth.
Right.
Kind of forced to be in character the whole time.
Fuck me, right?
Also, the layers of makeup he had on.
That's painful.
Yeah. Yeah, the scenes where Joker wasn't wearing makeup in the 89 movie. And then you know how like he would take a towel, right? And he would like start wiping it and you see like the white like smear on his forehead.
Yeah.
You'd think that they would just put white makeup on the towel or on the cloth so that he could, just smear it on his forehead. But no. So what they did was you had his normal face and then they put the white Joker makeup over that face. And then they put the normal skin looking makeup on top of that white makeup.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's like he's Bro's wearing like 3 layers of makeup. It's why? Just have it be his normal skin and then just put the white makeup on a rag so he can wipe it on his face.
Maybe they wanted him to look younger. I don't know.
That's fucked up.
I agree.
I would have shot somebody on
dog.
The set with a comically large revolver.
Let him know.
I would have taken the comically large revolver, held it up to Tim Burton's head. You're standing like 5 feet away with a gun.
Pow.
Long ass pistol.
It wouldn't have worked for me personally. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
How many bags am I receiving? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
The next Joker, the quintessential one. Me personally, I love Jack Nicholson. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a preference.
Mm-hmm.
And Heath Ledger's Joker, for me, is the best Joker to ever grace the live-action screen.
He's the scariest, for sure.
Definitely.
He's funny, too, though.
He is. No, I think it's just a matter of preference, right? Subjectively, right?
Yeah.
But I'd say that this Joker is better than Jack Nicholson's.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though Jack Nicholson is at a point, como se dice, where is at a point where like he demands the room, he's powerful, that kind of thing. All of that is readily apparent. Heath Ledger's Joker sneaks up on you. He makes you think you have the control, and then he says, "Nah, bitch, you fell into my trap." Yeah, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I just think there's way more iconic scenes, iconic shots in The Dark Knight surrounding Joker than there is Jack Nicholson's Joker. I think that Heath Ledger. I'm not gonna use the card that he gave up his life for the role, so he's instantly. I'm not gonna use that card. That's a dumb card to use. It's kind of a como se dice, kind of slimy to use too, so I won't use that. What I'm saying is that the fact that Heath Ledger needed to put himself in like a basement for 6 months, some shit like that. What do you have to do?
I think he locked himself in an apartment.
Yeah, for months at a time, trying to get down the isolation. Like, dude, that's dedication, right?
Yeah, it's dedication.
And then you just add to the fact that his monologues. I'm sorry, his monologues are so iconic. It's ridiculous. Like, I think one of my favorite quotes. I don't know the exact wordage, but it was something. It was literally in his last scene. I think it was his last line. It was like all the White Knight. All he needed was a little push. You know, like that line was. I forget exactly what he said, but when that line happened, when he said it, my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh fuck. So, I think there are just way too many great moments with this Joker in this film to not consider him the best Joker of all time. One of the greatest ones, and I don't think any actors. I don't think there's a lot of actors that could pull this off. The hospital scene.
Yeah,
he's walking out, and he's trying to hit the fucking detonation, and he's still in character. It's not going off. And then once it finally goes off, he's still in character, gets into the bus, closes it, and then gets up to the front. Like, it was ridiculous how that little moment where it's like, oh, it's not working. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then he did it anyway, all in one take, practically shot with no CGI, nothing, practically shot. The scale of that moment, and for it to malfunction and yet make the scene better. There is no way you could do better than what Heath Ledger did. There's no human being on earth that could have done that better. I don't care who. I don't care who you put up there. You have something like that, and you put it up against Jack Nicholson's character. I'm sure that there were moments where he improvises Jack fucking Nicholson.
Yeah.
But never to that extreme.
No. Heath Ledger's whole performance feels improvised. When you really lock it down, it just feels like improv the entire way through, but it's so fucking good.
You know why it feels like improv? Because Heath Ledger didn't play a character. He became the Joker for a fortnight. That's exactly what the fuck he did. I like to think that Heath Ledger's not only the scariest, but I think he's probably the baddest motherfucker to ever grace a screen. He's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I truly believe that this Joker, the way that he planned everything, the way that everything was set up so perfectly, and that even though his plan was thwarted at the end, still got the last laugh. You have to give it up to the writers, right? I think it was Nolan, right? Nolan, was it one other person too, or was it just Nolan?
I think his brother or because I know he wrote with David S. Goyer for Batman Begins, and then he wrote with his brother for The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't remember who co-wrote The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
It's either his brother or David S. Goyer, but I want to say it was his brother. I could be wrong.
You know,
don't quote me on that.
I think it's, you know, I think a great way to put it is this. What Batman movie do you know doesn't start with Batman?
The Dark Knight Rises.
That's it. Okay, Dark Knight Rises, but that's the Nolan trilogy. All right, fair.
Yeah.
Besides that.
Batman Returns.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then let me rephrase.
It starts with Penguin as a baby.
Okay, then let me rephrase.
Mm-hmm.
No, that doesn't work either, because Nicholson definitely outplayed Keaton.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say it like this. Name a more iconic intro scene for a villain in the Batman universe. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Any villain in the Batman universe. He's a fanboy, so he should know.
I'm thinking. I'm going through the.
And I don't mean fanboy as a negative. Like, we love geeking out to Batman here.
Of course, yeah. I'm looking through the filing cabinet in my head for. You said opening, right? Specifically.
Yeah, like opening to a film, game, whatever. Like the better opening for a villain.
For a villain specifically.
Yes.
Mm.
Talking about villains here.
Yeah. In Batman specifically.
In the Batman universe, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. Heath Ledger's got to be the best one. I was gonna say like Riddler's one in the Batman is really good, but it's not Heath Ledger's Joker good.
It's not Heath Ledger. It's nowhere near as iconic. It's nowhere near practically shot, and it has nowhere near as many great lines.
Yeah, very memorable.
For example, who taught you how to count? Perfect.
That shit feels like something a thug would say in the Arkham games.
Oh, man. That final monologue he had during that scene where he had the gas grenade in that guy's mouth. What did he say? He said something along the lines of...
I'm going to say something that you would not hear anyone on Twitter ever say about a movie or a character or something. Jack Nicholson is my favorite Joker, but Heath Ledger is the best Joker.
Damn. Holmes really broke it down. That being said...
Two different, levels, right? Because you have your favorite, but objectively the best is Heath Ledger.
A lot more complicated, a lot more well written, and even the comedy hits. Not probably, you can say that Jack Nicholson is funnier, and I can actually agree with you, but Heath Ledger's still pretty fucking funny. And then you add that with all the crazy shit that he gets up to. It's not only the good writing, the good performance, but it's also the spectacle. This Joker beats Jack Nicholson's Joker in so many ways that Jack Nicholson had no control over. It is what it is.
Yeah. And honestly, there is only really one solid reason why Heath Ledger's Joker is the best. Because he's also the smartest.
Yes, very much so. For example, Batman... Let me break it down. Okay.
Bro was doing the lip smacking too. I heard that shit. I heard the...
Yeah.
I think Heath Ledger, no.
Joker did, in a couple weeks, what Batman's been trying to do his entire tenure, and that's clean up the streets. Bro really took out all the bad guys in one fell swoop. All the fucking crime families, remember the fucking scene where he's sitting there at the table, he's got the grenade vests, all those guys that Batman's been after and been running around, Joker took them out like this.
Mm-hmm. Let's not blow things out of proportion. That's a good line.
I love that guy. I love that guy. The fact is, I feel like this Joker also had the biggest balls of any Joker. I don't care. That motherfucker walked... First of all, he went up in a fist fight against Batman. And he didn't win the fight, but he won the war, motherfucker. He did. You know? Yeah. He got Harvey Dent. He beat Batman.
Yep.
Not in every way. He didn't get the boats to explode.
No.
But he beat Batman. Jack Nicholson can't say that.
Nope. I mean, Jack Nicholson fucking died. Two very different endings.
Listen, there's so much I'm missing because it's been so long since I've watched The Dark Knight. But trust me, eventually when we do watch The Dark Knight, whether it's together or separate, I'm going to do like a solid 90-minute video.
just about the Joker.
Just slobbing all over the knob that is The Dark Knight. Like, in general, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think Heath Ledger is the best Joker. And I do think there is competition for that spot. But I think ultimately, you'd be kidding yourself if you didn't say Heath, man. It is what it is. You can debate the Batmans, you can debate the Gordons, you can debate the Harvey Dents, you can debate the Riddlers, but you can't debate the Joker. Unless we're talking Matt Hamill. That's different. That's different.
Mark Hamill?
Not Mark.
You said Matt.
Matt.
You said Matt Hamill.
Did I not? My bad. Mark Hamill.
Luke Skywalker.
You get it.
Yeah. We know who you're talking about.
That one. Just like how if we were to take all these live action ones and put them up against Kevin, that's something to talk about.
Yeah, that's
all right.
That's a rough one.
That's a rough one. I'd say Kevin.
I kind of wish they put like the animated series Joker and Batman on here.
Well, I can add them real quick. Hold on.
Oh shit, bro's gonna add stuff. Like if I made this tier list, there'd probably be a lot more Batmans than Jokers. Like Gotham.
Right.
I'm like the only person that has ever seen that show.
But I don't know shit about those guys, all right? Let's have a productive conversation, please. 1 second.
Like I said, I'm the only person that's probably seen that show.
I hear you.
Not only seen it, but seen it twice. I want to watch it again. Hell yeah.
All right. There you go.
Hell yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Batman first. Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Perfection. It's like you can't really say anything about that.
It's not even like a competition, really. Mainly because there's so much subject matter around him. He has infinitely more screen time. Kevin Conroy's Batman than any of the other guys.
100%.
And we could talk Arkham Batman, and we could take Arkham Batman too and put him in the same slot. I really think so. Even though I love this Batman, once again, 3 games consistent. That one, 4 games. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, 4 games. Like 5 different TV shows.
Yeah.
Countless animated movies.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, it's S tier.
We're talking live action. We're looking at this man. And for me, it's a competition between this man and this man. Mainly because this man hasn't fucked up yet. But this man...
Yeah, because one has a trilogy, the other guy's got 1 movie.
Exactly. But mainly this man, top tier, is what it is.
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah, it's S tier. Yeah.
Yes, S tier. That's it.
Yeah.
As a Joker, yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm not saying he's better than the Batman. I'm saying that he's the best Joker. That's it. Best Joker. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just he's funny. He's smart when he wants to be. When he wants to be is important.
Absolutely. Of course, he be having jokes, bro. But yeah, this Joker.
Yeah. He's just Mark Hamill's just a good Joker.
Just based off the Arkham trilogy, for me alone, this Joker's the best. I haven't seen the show or anything. Off of this and Batman Vengeance, this Joker's the best.
If you need to watch 1 episode of the animated series to understand why Mark Hamill is such a good Joker, I recommend the episode called Joker's Favor, because that episode is funny as fuck and also kind of terrifying. So, what the plot of that episode is basically some guy is having a terrible ass day, and then so he's driving home from work, and then there's this really slow car on the highway, and he's honking at him, and he's telling him to get out the way and all that stuff, and then so he honks at him, and he's like yelling at him, and then he goes around the car, and then he sees that it's Joker driving the car.
Damn.
And then so now Joker starts chasing him on the highway to the point where the guy runs off the road. And then so Joker stops his car and he catches up to the guy and he finds him. And then the guy's like, oh my God, I didn't know it was you. Like, please don't kill me. Like, he knows who the Joker is, obviously. And Joker is just like, you know what? I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to torture you. I'm not going to do anything. He takes the guy's, I believe his driver's license. and he says, "I'm gonna keep this with me, and when I need you for a favor, I'll call you." Joker waits 2 fucking years. This dude moved states. He like changed his name. He did all this crazy shit after that encounter with Joker, and Joker still fucking found him because he needed a favor.
Fucking hell.
And the favor was basically to hold a whole like building of people hostage.
Damn.
Basically, I don't remember exactly what Joker's plan was, but yeah, it's crazy shit.
But why did he give him the... I'm sorry. The plot was that he found out that the driver of the car was Joker. So what, he got in a crash?
So he was mad because Joker was driving really slow, but he didn't know Joker was driving the car. So he's honking at him and he's yelling, classic road rage, right? He's honking, he's yelling, and
Joker threatens him.
And so when he eventually goes to pass Joker, he sees that it's Joker driving the car, and they make eye contact. And so Joker now starts following him, starts chasing him down the highway.
Fuck that.
And the guy gets so scared that he runs off the road. And then Joker catches up to him, and then that's when, he basically corners him in the middle of nowhere on the side of a highway.
This is why you stay strapped in Boston. That's it.
Yeah.
Or Gotham. My bad. Same thing.
Same shit. Same shit.
Different day.
Yeah. But that episode is really good, and it's funny, but also kind of scary.
But yeah, I'd have to say Kevin Conroy's and Mark Hamill's Joker and Batman are simply the best, and I don't think there's much competition in that regard. 1, because of the screen time, 2, because of how well they're written, and 3, because of how well they're performed. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Simply the best.
And if you need convincing of why Kevin Conroy's Batman's the best, just play the Arkham games.
You'll know. Oh, fuck yeah, you'll know.
Just watch Batman Mask of the Phantasm. There's so much shit you could consume with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy.
It's beautiful.
They're the best. They're the best. Like, you can't hear anyone else as those characters. I mean, you probably could. There's other great voice actors that play those characters, but they're not Kevin Conroy and they're not Mark Hamill.
Goddamn right.
Simple as that.
They're the blueprint.
They're the blueprint. All right, what's next?
I don't even want to say his fucking name.
I'll say it. Jared Leto. It's Morbius. It's Morbin time.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of words for this Joker.
No.
Let's break it down a little bit. All right. I think that this Joker lacks any kind of level of depth, and the only reason why he exists is to serve as a plot tool for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Yes. 100%.
The only reason why he's in the film is to sell the film, trailers, whatnot. And the parts that he's in, he plays a flashy bad guy who likes to laugh. And that's it. He doesn't really have any level of depth other than that he may or may not like Harley Quinn. I hate his aesthetic with a passion. He looks like a SoundCloud rapper. Which isn't advantageous for the most intimidating man on their fucking planet.
Yeah.
I really don't have anything else to say other than that literally everything about Jared Leto's Joker. I mean, you can say it's down to the writing and he was just given bad stuff to deal with, and I agree with you on that, but then you get to the laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to think that he was given horrible direction. And I'd like to think that they used the first take and no others. That being said, I'm probably wrong.
I have one thing I like about his Joker.
Go ahead.
Bro's got some pretty nice looking suits. Because, he wears a lot of different outfits. He's got some nice drip, I would say. I like it.
I also like the shot where he's laying down and guns are surrounding him. The thing is, practically, how does that shot work?
What do you mean?
As in, did he physically set all those rifles up so he could do that?
Yeah.
Like, did he order his goons to circle them around with like knives and shit? Like, was that the setup, or would they just put it on a gun rack like normal people who own guns, or like a pile in a box somewhere? Practically, that shot doesn't make any sense. It could be done functionally. I'm saying that. Think about it within the context of the story. It's the equivalent of somebody posting a tragedy video, but they have to set up the camera first and then go over to somewhere and then cry and then come back and get the fucking camera to turn it off. It's the equivalent of that.
Yeah.
It's a set piece that has no sense whatsoever. There's not a lot of Joker in this film. Thank fuck.
Yeah. I found another thing I like about him.
Go ahead.
I like his thugs. Do you remember all his thugs were dressed in like these weird outfits? One had like a sheep or like a goat mask. The other one was dressed as like a panda. like they have all these like weird mismatched like outfits.
Oh my god, I know what it is.
I like the aesthetic.
I know what it is.
What?
The Joker's appearance in this film is shot, presented as a music video.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, SoundCloud rapper wasn't far off.
Every single fucking shot in this film that surrounds the Joker is literally something that you would put into a music video.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta hype him up, and you gotta make it stand out. Hence the panda and whatever the fuck mask on the goons.
Yeah.
Hence the grills on the teeth of the Joker. Hence the tattoos. Hence the close-ups and the torturing of a guy. Every single one of those scenes, if you were to take out the dialogue, would simply be scenes in a music video.
Mm-hmm. Well, the grills also serve a lore purpose.
Really?
In that role.
How so?
Yeah. Batman punched his teeth out. It's the years of abuse and just taking hits from Batman. He's lost his teeth, and so the grills are basically replacements.
There's this thing called dentures.
Yeah,
that Joker would definitely wear if he cared about how his teeth looked.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
But this Joker is a. I feel like this Joker is on the highest level of hello fellow kids energy. And
he does kind of look like Steve Buscemi.
And really and is really trying hard to be too cool for school.
Yeah.
Except what he doesn't realize is when you don't show up for class, you get a poor grade. But for you, my friend, you don't even get a grade. You just get expelled.
Yeah.
Anything else?
He's also trying too hard in terms of just performance.
Very much
like
so.
He's trying too hard to seem scary, but he's not.
He's not scary.
He's not.
If they made him like a caricature or parodical, I could at least put him up here. But he's not a caricature or parodical. They're trying to take him seriously because the movie is such a contradiction of emotions.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, if I'm supposed to compare you to all of these kings, you don't belong. You don't even belong on the list. In fact, can I get rid of this image? I want to see.
It's crazy when other characters in the movie are intimidated by him. And it's why? He's done nothing to warrant that reputation. It's we all know who the Joker is, but this Joker, he's not intimidating at all. What would make me intimidated by this Joker is if his first scene was we watched him skin someone alive. That's fucked up.
Something.
That's horrifying, actually. It's but we didn't get any of that. He shot somebody in a nightclub. Okay.
Oh.
Who gives a fuck?
Dude, the Riddler had more fucking opportunities than the Batman. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. The Riddler and the Batman is peak.
Peak.
Yeah, but we're talking about Jared Leto's Joker.
Nah, dude, I'm done. I don't have the energy for Jared Leto. I need to save it for Joaquin. If you have anything else, please let me know now.
I don't understand how like Jared Leto is a method actor and he consistently puts out bad performances.
Tell me about it.
Like Christian Bale is a method actor, but he's actually good.
Nah.
So what does Jared Leto do? I feel like he just says he does things.
And don't say method acting works for only for Batman and not for Joker. Look at Heath. Joaquin Phoenix, who I think is the most controversial of all the Jokers that we have on this list.
You think so?
Very much so. Because Jared Leto is universally hated.
Fair.
No one likes Jared Leto. No one likes him.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix split the fan base right in two.
That's fair.
Because people are like, hey, that's not my Joker.
Yeah.
So I want you to break it down, because I've been breaking down some of these Jokers. I want you to break it down. How did you enjoy Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Joker?
All right. Well, you just mentioned how he splits the fan base in two.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of on both sides.
I hear you.
I understand. Like he's not my Joker. He doesn't feel like a Joker. But it's also, this is an Elseworld movie. This is kind of it's a new take on the character. Much like Ben Affleck, it's purposefully different. But at his core, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker still feels like the Joker. And I think that's the most important thing.
It's just
it's
just a very different Joker.
It's a very different Joker because, I mentioned Heath Ledger's the smartest. All the Jokers are kind of smart in their own way. Especially Heath Ledger's. He's smart to the point where it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's fucking psychic, Jigsaw level. Jesus.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is not very smart, but he's very impulsive and he's very emotional. And that's what makes him terrifying. That's what makes him unpredictable.
He's unpredictable, right?
Yeah. Because at any moment in time, you say the wrong thing around him, he's just going to snap. And sure, the other Jokers are like that too. But it's in the performance. It's the little, twitches in Joaquin's face. The way he would glare at somebody. The way he glared at Robert De Niro.
I feel like the main thing.
Terrifying.
I feel like one of the main things that made Joaquin Phoenix's Joker terrifying is not only that he's unpredictable, but that he seems more unstable than the other Jokers. Now, I know that they're all fucking crazy. They're all unstable. The problem, the difference between them and the other Jokers is the other Jokers, they always have a plan, an end game, if you will. Joaquin Phoenix don't have an end game. He's just lashing out.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to kill himself. I guess that was his plan, was to kill himself on live TV.
Right.
But after the conversation with Robert De Niro, in the moment, he shot him instead.
He made that decision on the fly.
Yeah. So, it's a give and take, I guess. He's very emotional, and that's what makes him scary.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we talk about the performance, Joaquin Phoenix just fucking kills it. He's so damn good as the Joker.
Yes.
He even looks like the Joker.
He does.
And honestly, I think one of my favorite aspects of this version of the character is that his laugh is a nervous tick.
Involuntary, yes.
It's involuntary. It's scary, bro. That is actually a terrifying thought to have.
Well, we can talk about all day about what this film says politically, or how people kind of reject people with mental illnesses, right, and treat them like trash, that kind of thing, right? Or you could talk about how all that pent up aggression of being a loner kind of spills out with toxic masculinity, and eventually leads into leads to murders and violence and that kind of thing. We could talk about that all day, but we're here to talk about Joaquin's performance and the Joker's character in and of itself, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to think that this Joker is very emotional, but is also very detailed and layered and is very disturbed. And right now, this Joker is in his early stages of development. Now, unlike Batman, this Joker is comes from a lot more of an unstable background. All right, he doesn't have $1 million mansion. He doesn't have somebody looking out for him. He's alone. He's got to make all these mistakes himself. He's got to learn all his lessons by himself. And he wasn't raised correctly in any regard. And he has so many issues that the government or the Medcare system, whatever the fuck, the healthcare system will not help him with. So he's a product of his environment, right? And I think that this Joker in particular is something that a lot of people can relate to. And that's something that is hard for me to say for the other Jokers. Mark Hamill, I definitely see it because once again, they definitely pander to humanity a lot more than the live action versions. But besides Mark Hamill, you can understand where the Jokers are coming from, but you cannot relate to them anywhere near as much as a Joaquin Phoenix. You really can't, because he's just another guy.
He feels like a Joker from our reality.
Yes. If Joker was real, this would be him.
Yep. For sure. And I like, in terms of aesthetic, that he's more clown-like.
Yes.
Like the colors he wears, the makeup. You know, he's got like the red nose. He's a clown.
Holmes really did parties.
Yeah, we're all clowns.
All right. We live in a society.
Yeah, that's really what we're saying here.
Yeah, right. I think this portrayal of Joker is very intelligent. I think this portrayal of Joker is very deep. I also think it's very relatable to people who go through mental struggles, who deal with loneliness, who deal with a whole host of things. I think they can all see a little bit of themselves in the Joker. And that's what the Joker uses to his advantage. He rallies the people up against the system. And all that rallying leads to violence and rioting in the street, which he wanted. Joker at his core has always been an anarchist. Overthrow the government, go chaos mode, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I feel like in his first movie they nailed him to a T, his version of him to a T, and I don't really have any issues with this Joker. You can say it's not comic book it's not comic book faithful, and that's fair, but I don't think that makes a movie bad because it didn't follow the comic books. All right, I think that the Joker that's here is very well made, very intelligent, very well written, and is very different from the other Jokers. And I also think that he is not finished. His story is not finished. Just like this Batman, his story is not finished, but what is here is damn near perfect. With that being said, where do you rank him?
He's S tier.
But where in S tier? That's the question. Me personally,
he's
I think
underneath Heath Ledger.
Me personally, I think it's really early to tell, right? So I can't put him over Heath Ledger, but it's hard for me to put him over Jack Nicholson as well. It really is.
I feel like for me, him and Jack Nicholson are kind of on par. And it's weird because they're very different too.
You know what? I'd say that there are damn near no flaws with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I mean, I can't think of one. Can you?
No.
Can you think of a flaw of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker? Not Joaquin Phoenix. Can you think of a flaw of Jack Nicholson's Joker? Any flaw, big or small?
Honestly, no. I like everything about Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Well, then I guess it should come down to which subject matter is more complicated and executed better, pertaining to the character itself. Like his arc, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Jack Nicholson's Joker doesn't really have an arc. He goes from being a bad guy to a worse guy. So, I mean, in terms of that, it's got to be Joaquin.
I mean,
his arc is a lot more defined.
What story lasts with you more? What makes you think more? What's more impactful?
Well, the one that makes me think more is Joaquin Phoenix's.
Mm-hmm.
But the performance and the character that's more memorable to me, the one I quote more often, would be Jack Nicholson's.
Mm-hmm.
And it is partially biased because Jack Nicholson's is the one I grew up with. And Joaquin Phoenix is the most recent version of the character that we've gotten so far.
I'll tell you what.
But in terms of one that makes me think, one that's more intelligent, in terms of the writing, it's Joaquin.
You know what I think? I think this. I think that right now the stages that we are currently in with Joker is way too early. We're in way too early stages with the Joker. I think we need to wait for Joker Folly Edu to put him over Nicholson. Mm-hmm. I really do. Judging by the trailer, I mean, we did a whole breakdown on it. It looks to be another masterpiece. And if it builds on Joker's character more and actually makes him more of an organized kind of guy, you know, like he's actually acting with intent rather than emotion, you know, like you see him mature and kind of build up as an even more imposing Joker, I'd have to say that he'd be a contender with Heath Ledger if he could pull something like that off. But we don't know yet. So for now, I'd say he's just below Jack Nicholson. By a smidgen. He's just below Jack Nicholson.
Absolutely fair. Bonus one.
Yes, go ahead.
Robert Pattinson's Joker.
Oh.
Bro's got 2 scenes.
Hold on,
one of them was deleted.
I'm going to look it up. Hold on.
He is in 2 scenes, and one of them was a deleted scene that they put on YouTube later.
The last Joker that we talk about
this evening. What a picture.
Well, it's the most clear one. The other ones are mad blurry.
Well, yeah, because on purpose.
Right, of course. Well, I mean, there's one here, but no, that's fine. That's perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Joker from the Batman 2022, as you said.
Yeah.
The man with 2 scenes.
The man with 2 scenes, 1 deleted.
Indeed.
It's important to note because not everyone would have seen the deleted scenes.
I'd say, from what I saw, he's got some good mannerisms. And I also like his performance, the little subtleties. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
it's if you guys don't know the actor, it's Barry Keoghan, who, if you're a superhero fan, he was in the Eternals. I know he's done some other big stuff. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Let me look him up.
Yeah. Like, you see him and you know him.
Yeah, Saltburn. Let's see here. Oh, geez.
Dunkirk.
Yeah, Dunkirk. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Dunkirk. So, yeah, he's definitely a decent actor. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And his Joker is deformed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's scary.
Holmes is nasty.
That's the smile's a deformity. That's fucking terrifying.
I think that...
And he looks disgusting.
Yes, he does. I think this Joker definitely has potential.
Yeah.
But that's what I could say. Potential.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's fair putting him on the tier list.
No.
Because he
has 2 scenes. It's impossible.
He has 2 scenes. But if I were to play devil's advocate...
Yeah. Yeah, you read my mind.
From what I've seen...
Mm-hmm.
Just based off what I've seen, this is subject to change. Just like how this is subject to change, and just like how this one's subject to change. Not this one. That one.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, the subtleties in his scenes, the work that he put together, and the way that scene was shot, it just from those 2 scenes alone, if it continues to be as consistent as it was, we're looking at this. But for now, that Joker, A tier, right behind Cesar Romero.
Mm-hmm. And also worth noting, we might not even see more of Joker in Robert Pattinson's Batman universe. Because even though he was at the end of the movie, the director has said that's not a tease for Joker being the villain in the next one. It was meant more for the theme of the movie.
He might be more of an informant later on, you know what I mean? Like, he's talking, I want more chair scenes today.
Yeah. And then also, like, lore that wasn't explained in the movie, but we learned from the director after the fact. This Joker was caught by Batman when Batman was in his first year of crime fighting. So, this Joker might not be that good.
Weak.
Bro got caught like right away.
Weak. Yeah.
Weak. But you can tell from the one scene he's in, we can see that, he really knows how to get under Batman's skin. Just with words. Bro's behind like bulletproof glass.
Wow.
And he's already getting under Batman's skin.
Yeah, for real. Batman lost some of his shit when he was talking to him. This Joker knows how to fucking pull up the strings. That's all it is.
Yeah. Batman walked out before he even finished the interrogation. Like,
emotional, damn it.
Literally. Yeah, I think this is a good tier list.
Are there any decisions that you think we should change? Any regrets?
Not really.
I don't think Ben Affleck is above or even on par with Val Kilmer. I think George Clooney does not belong anywhere near any of these guys. Jared Leto, well, that's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I think Affleck's character is better than Keaton, mainly because he's had way more depth and variables to juggle. Cesar Romero is definitely a decent Joker, but not on the caliber of these other guys. Mm-hmm. This Joker simply has not been given enough, but from what we've seen, quite consistent, and is nowhere near the level of this fucking guy. So there you go. Yeah. And then you have the S tier, which I think may be the most controversial amongst fans, except for this one. So? Yes, except for this one, Kevin Conroy. I think.
What would be the most controversial in S tier? You think
on in S tier? Huh.
Yeah.
I'd say Joaquin or Adam West.
I don't think Adam West would be controversial in S tier.
I think actually yes, so because people will pull that line, or it's like, well, it's an old show from the '60s. If you think about the depth of all these characters, they have way more depth. They have way more variables to juggle. By your own benchmark, you're saying that, como se dice, even though Adam West had a lot less to juggle and had a lot more variables to fuck up, como se dice, you really think he's better than Affleck? That kind of thing. They might think that we're going completely against our grading system. And the thing is, we are. Because he's the exception. He's literally the only exception here. He's literally the only exception here. So I think the most controversial will be Joaquin here. Maybe Nicholson. Nicholson.
Maybe. I could see maybe Nicholson. I could see people putting him in like A or B.
Mm-hmm.
But, in terms of our tastes, in which our opinions are objectively fact and correct.
This is literally the official tier list. There is no other tier list of this at all. And they don't exist.
And we have had our disagreements. I mean, like you would put Bale in S.
Yes, I would put Bale at S, but I compromise with you because I understand that there are indeed some flaws, mainly with the Bat voice. And considering the Bat voice is definitely something that needs to be commanding, I understand where you're coming from, so I put it in A.
Yeah.
And you compromised with Affleck. I said Indeed. I understood that, like, hey, he might be cool, but Val Kilmer didn't fuck up anywhere near as much as this contradictory fuckwad. You know what I mean? It is what it is, So you understood. I understood. It is what it is. We compromised. We talked about it. We talked over it for 2 hours and fucking 17 minutes. Good. I think we put enough thought into this to say, hey, this is the definitive tier list.
You know what? I think we need to restart.
You right.
I don't like any of this.
My bad. Okay. Jared Leto, S tier.
Yep. You got it.
All right. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole. This was a fun one. I enjoyed this one.
Indeed.
It was a lot longer than I thought it'd be, to be honest. This was supposed to be short and sweet.
And it was not.
And it was literally 20 minutes less than the Spider-Man tier list. Fuck.
I feel like it's always the ones that are supposedly short and sweet.
For real.
That end up going the longest.
Our Would You Rather conversation was 90 minutes long. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? We talk too much.